And welcome to Back Roads of Illinois. I am your host, Cesar Delgado, for today. This is your agricultural and information about the agricultural industry in central Illinois and across the Midwest. Guest on today is Naomi Bloom from Total Farm Marketing for your commodity analysis and update your markets and your agricultural news on today's program. Top news. Illinois primary on yesterday's afternoon about the presidential election and the Senate races in districts in central Illinois. China has been canceled with a wheat purchase for last week about the demand is pretty lower than previously years since 2018 to China. This planting season are going to be mixed bag for central Illinois. We're having a great chance of snow on April. That's your agricultural news and information. We are back with Naomi Bloom from Total Farm Marketing for your commodity analysis on Back Roads of Illinois. We're back right after this. Conversation with Naomi Bloom from Total Farm Marketing for your commodity analysis on Back Roads of Illinois. Welcome to the show. How are you, Naomi? My pleasure to have you on the show.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to talk markets with you today.
Let's start with our conversation on the acreage report on March 28th. What is your takes to the acreage dilemma is pretty bearish from the Department of Agricultural.
Right, so looking at the report next week, in general, the market is anticipating that we'll see less corn acres planted than last year and more soybean acres planted than last year. But the bottom line for corn is that even if we have 3 million less planted acres than last year, we're still going to be dealing with 2 billion bushel carryout. So it might be hard for the markets to have a big price rally in the coming weeks unless we get some weather issues to occur in Brazil or a summer weather issue to occur in the United States. And when I look at the market response from the planted acres report in years past, it doesn't have a big response a lot of times. It's mostly expected, and a lot of times too, the market's already focused on what can happen in the future for the June report, and things can still change.
Yes, it is the weight gain for this report.
Yes, waiting game
How do you
indeed.
see the acreage report is showing for the corn than the beans?
Well, I do think that they'll have less corn acres than a year ago and more soybean acres than a year ago. But I'm a little curious if it'll be as low as what the USDA was saying in February at the USDA Outlook Forum. There was a lot of good fall field work done last fall because the weather was decent, and with an early spring, maybe we see a little bit more corn acres than the market is thinking. So it'll be interesting to see what happens next week.
How are the grain market for today's close bell in downtown Chicago?
Well, it was an interesting day. It was a very quiet market for corn. Corn closed pretty much unchanged from yesterday, with wheat trading 7 cents lower on the day. But soybeans had a big rally today. Part of it was because of technical buying and some short covering because the May contract was able to get above $12. And there was also news of more farmer selling happening in Brazil. So the beans had a nice rally today, but we'll see if there's any follow through tomorrow. Today, about 25 points lower. Prices have been trading sideways and consolidating, waiting for Friday's cattle on feed report. Cash trade has been steady to a little bit higher. Box beef values have been firm. So the markets are just waiting for Friday's cattle on feed report. Hog prices today were down about 50 points. Not a lot of fresh news there. For Friday's cattle on feed report, yeah, we're looking to see February placements on the feedlots rising maybe year over year to 1.83 million head. It'd be the first increase year over year for placements since October. The feedlot herd as of March 1st seen rising by 0.9% year over year to 11.79 million head. So it'll be interesting to see how much of it is priced into the market already. I will say that this report needs to be really over the top friendly in order to have cattle prices rally from here. Otherwise, we might see cattle prices start to drift a little bit lower without a lack of immediate friendly news.
Does anyone want to know about the cattle expansion in these markets? What is your take?
That is a good question. And that's what we're watching for, because we haven't seen any signs of heifers being held back yet in order to expand the herd. So we're watching for that, for a clue to see if the herd is starting to expand or not. So far, we haven't really seen any signs of expansion, but that is a huge point and something that we are all watching very closely.
Do you have final thoughts about these commodity analysis on the acreage report?
Well, I would encourage producers to remember that unless there's a dramatic weather issue, the corn market is dealing with bigger carryout than what we've had for 3 years. So that's going to weigh on the market prices. And we have to always keep an eye on weather. Now, one other factor to be watching is the position of the funds. They have been heavily short in corn and soybeans. And so if they have a reason to continue to exit short positions, that could push the market higher, but they need some fresh news to justify them to exit short positions. So any rallies we see here might be some more opportunities for cash sales. And then just be mindful that a lot of times the summer high for corn and soybean prices actually occurs between Mother's Day in May and Father's Day in June. So keep that in mind as you're focusing on cash sales for old crop and new crop.
Thanks for coming, Nomai.
Thank you.
This is Nomai Bloom from Total Farm Marketing for your commodity analysis on back roads of Illinois. We were back with the last segment on back roads of Illinois. We're back on back roads of Illinois. We've been talking with Nomai Bloom from Total Farm Marketing. Well, this markets are trading down and up. The feeder cattle is up for right now alongside with the cattle on feed report from the Department of Agriculture on Friday morning. I heard that the report is going to be in 102 between 106 range for this Friday's report. It's been swamped at the packers for this year because they've been backed up at the pack plant. Well, folks, there's our show for today on Back Roads of Illinois. See you tomorrow again. For Back Roads of Illinois, I am Cesar Delgado. Have a good day.